chosen one. You didn't just stumble here. You didn't just happen to press play. This moment found you because heaven scheduled it, because something inside you has been stirring, quietly, persistently, reminding you there's more inside you than what the world sees right now. And you're right. You are not here by coincidence. You are here by alignment. You've been walking through seasons that others didn't understand. You've been carrying weights that others didn't notice. You've been saying yes to things you couldn't even fully explain. And here's the truth. All of it has been shaping you for this. All of it has been preparing you to step into the kind of calling that requires not just your hands, but your heart, your faith, your integrity. You are not ordinary, and that's exactly why your journey has not been easy. You're here because you are trusted. You're here because you are chosen. You're here because heaven knows you won't waste what's about to be placed in your hands. So I want you to feel this deep in your spirit. You are not just being raised to succeed. You're being raised to transform, to disrupt cycles, to build what no one before you could build, to carry both wealth and wisdom, both influence and reverence. This is not just another video. This is not just another message. This is a divine signal, a spiritual blueprint, a prophetic confirmation of what your soul already knows, but your mind needed to hear out loud. You are ready. So lean in, sit up, shake off the doubt and the distractions, because what you're about to unlock is bigger than you. And it starts right now. Let's go. Looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. You carry a weight that was not given at random. There are moments you've sat in silence, asking questions no one could answer. Why here? Why this family? Why these battles? Why does it feel like everything takes twice as long? Why does it feel like you're always walking alone? Every obstacle, every invisible wall, every unseen resistance you've endured, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You were not simply chosen, you were trusted. You're not some accident of circumstance. You are the intentional disruption of cycles that should have ended generations ago. The fracture point, the one destined to forge what others never dared to dream. You arrived in a lineage that may have never known how to sustain prosperity, vision, or dignity. And yet here you stand, as the one meant to rewrite what was broken. What you didn't inherit, you are being shaped to create. No one taught you how to merge integrity with influence, and that is precisely why the assignment began with you. Because you would not mistake wealth for worth. Because you would not trade your essence for applause. Because you would not bow to temptation, even when it arrived disguised as opportunity. Those seasons of obscurity you walked through were never disqualifications. They were sacred ground where your roots grew deep. Step beyond the screen, join and help light the way for others. While no one was looking, the false parts of you were being stripped away, leaving only what could not be shaken. There were nights you felt invisible, overlooked, forgotten. While others seemed to rise, you waited, unsure if your turn would ever come. But you were never abandoned. You were being planted, not hidden, but established. That quiet endurance is now turning into undeniable momentum. You are the first to blend abundance with accountability, the first to hold influence without corruption, the first to reach new heights without losing your soul. This mantle you carry isn't just for you. It's for the generations behind you and the strangers ahead of you. It holds not just the power to bless, but the power to liberate, economically, emotionally, spiritually. You were given this path to fulfill what others only wished for, to construct what no one handed you, to cross thresholds that were barricaded for those before you, and then keep those doors open for others. You were not selected to impress. You were positioned to transform, not to compete for empty trophies, but to steward a mission with depth. You are not simply rising, you are being entrusted with vision, with resources, with lives. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. Because you did not collapse in the silence, you will not falter in the spotlight. The unseen parts of your journey prepared you for what is arriving now. Every quiet yes you whispered when no one applauded is returning as strength, provision, and clarity. You are not here just to succeed. You are here to change the story entirely. You were appointed for this. You were refined for this. You were trusted for this. And now the time has come, not just to arrive, but to lead. You were molded for this, but not through ease. There were seasons that felt like drought, like exile, like invisibility. But every one of them was deliberate. What you've been entrusted with now was never just handed over lightly. Before you could carry plenty, you had to walk through scarcity with grace. Before your hands could hold more, your spirit had to learn to stand empty without bitterness. What you endured wasn't meant to punish you. It was designed to prepare you for a kind of increase that would have crushed anyone without your resolve. What was being shaped in you was never just about material gain. It was about becoming the kind of person who could wield it without being consumed by it. Every test was a question. Would you remain steady when nothing added up? Would you still move with integrity when you lacked what others flaunted? Would you hold on to your principles when shortcuts were everywhere? You weren't being stalled. You were being sharpened. Your ego had to be quieted before you could be elevated. Because what rests on you now isn't merely potential, it's responsibility. And such responsibility can only rest on a heart that has been emptied of pride and strengthened by humility. You had to endure the loneliness of being unseen, so you wouldn't depend on applause to validate you later. You had to feel what it was like to have nothing, not forever, but just long enough to remember that your source was never in what people could provide. Every closed door disciplined your patience. Every empty table cultivated your clarity. Every failure trained your faith. You weren't just learning how to gain, you were learning how to govern what you gain, to remain its master rather than its captive. Many desire increase, but few are willing to endure the quiet work it takes to carry it well. They long for harvest while avoiding the refining. They chase recognition without confronting what is broken inside. But you surrendered to the process. You allowed the fire to burn away what couldn't come with you. You allowed obscurity to build the kind of character that can't be bought or faked. Now, you stand prepared, not just to hold what's coming, but to honor it. Your humility became your shield. Your discipline became your strength. Your patience became your foundation. That long wilderness didn't weaken you. It taught you how to stand tall in places others stumble. Step beyond the screen. Join and help light the way for others. So when others watch you rise now, they won't understand the depth behind it. They'll see the outcome, but never the nights you wept in silence, the quiet prayers, the sacrifices you chose. But heaven saw all of it. And because you proved trustworthy when no one was looking, the abundance flowing to you now won't corrupt what's inside you. It will amplify the mission you were born for. This is why it took time. Because what you're meant to carry is weighty, and it demanded someone who could hold it without collapsing. Now that you've been refined, equipped, and grounded, the increase ahead won't swallow you. It will fortify you. You are not here just to collect blessings for yourself. You are here to shift an entire lineage. What is unfolding in your life now was set in motion long before you took your first breath. This is not simply your moment. This is a turning point written into your family's story. The transformation rising through you was never meant to stop with you. It was meant to flow through you into everyone who comes after. You were chosen as the bridge. You were entrusted to repair what was fractured across generations. You stand in the gap where silence used to reign, where struggle became a ritual, where limitation was passed down like an heirloom. Now, through your obedience, the cycle breaks. Where once only survival existed, you're being positioned to establish systems of strength. Where chaos once dictated the atmosphere, you are being entrusted to seed clarity, to cultivate order. Your journey has always felt heavier because the weight you carry includes those who came before and those who will follow. That's why it has been hard. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why your path seemed lonelier, longer, more layered than you could explain. Because you're not only walking for yourself, you're walking for names you've never even heard. What is being placed in your hands now will rewrite the narrative for generations. The ceilings that trapped your ancestors will now become the floors where your descendants will stand. Your discipline becomes their freedom. Your perseverance becomes their inheritance. Your yes in this season creates an open path for those who couldn't find one. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. This isn't about indulgence. This is about building something that lasts beyond you. You are not just gathering resources, you're setting a foundation not built on vanity, but on vision. You will cancel debts you didn't incur. You will dissolve patterns you didn't start. You will sow seeds that will grow into businesses, education, sanctuary, opportunity. You will carve out spaces that carry your intention, not just your name. You're leaving more than wealth. You're leaving wisdom. You're leaving a framework. You're leaving freedom in every sense of the word. The ones who come after you won't inherit the shadows you fought. They won't wear the shame you carried. They won't walk in the confusion you endured. You're handing them something entirely new: clarity, courage, possibility. That's why the resistance has been so fierce. That's why the opposition felt personal. Because this assignment has never been about what you could accumulate for yourself. It's about the ripple effect your obedience unleashes. When you rise, chains fall. When you prosper, strongholds crumble. When you move into abundance, everything behind you shifts. So understand this clearly. What is flowing to you now is sacred. It was never about status, never about luxury, never about competing. It's about equipping you to restore what was lost and build what no one before you could. You are not just succeeding, you are pioneering. You are not just receiving, you are establishing. You are the one who ends what needed to end. You are the one who begins what must endure. You are the one entrusted to carry not only resources, but the responsibility to wield them wisely. And you will, because heaven saw fit to place this in your hands, knowing you would honor it and knowing you would multiply it beyond yourself. You are not just someone who gains, you are someone who carries. Many people in this world collect possessions but lose themselves. They build towers but lack depth, command audiences but cannot command their own hearts, shine outwardly but remain hollow inside. But what is unfolding through you is entirely different. You are not being elevated only to hold resources. You are being elevated to hold responsibility. The blessing was never meant to stop at your hands. It was meant to flow through your whole being. What you're stepping into is not just about financial leadership. It's about becoming a beacon of something eternal in a world desperate for direction. You are rare, set apart, a signal amid noise, a leader whose wealth will never outshine their wisdom, one who wears abundance with humility and carries authority without arrogance. Your voice will carry weight, not because it's loud, but because it comes from a place of alignment. Your life will radiate meaning because you didn't chase clout, you chose character. Your influence won't be hollow, it will have substance. People will encounter you and sense calm where they expected chaos. They'll hear your story and feel courage rise in them. They'll watch your choices and feel challenged, because what you carry can't be purchased or imitated. You won't simply look the part, you'll live it. You'll move through privilege without forgetting your posture. You'll stand in rooms full of temptation and remain anchored. You'll hold influence while staying human, staying grounded, staying whole. That's why your rise took longer than theirs. That's why you watched others pass you by, because your foundation was being built deeper. Every delay was carving integrity into you. Every hidden season was stripping you of what could not survive at the next level. You had to learn how to handle power without letting it distort you, to walk with authority without letting it inflate you, to remain steady even as others projected glory onto you. You're not chasing recognition. Recognition is catching up to you. You're not forcing doors to open. The right ones are unlocking themselves because of your faithfulness. You're not selling yourself for approval because you already belong to something bigger. You are not just wealthy. You are watchful. You are not just elevated. You are equipped. You are not just successful. You are surrendered. And people will notice the difference. This isn't just another achievement to stack. This is sacred ground you're walking on. And what truly sets you apart is this: you never compromised your convictions to climb. You didn't dilute your identity to be accepted. You didn't exchange your essence for applause. You stayed the course. You stayed clean. Now, everything connected to you is catching fire, not just with success, but with something higher. A glow no money can buy. A peace no fame can counterfeit. A power no title can grant. And this is what sets you apart from everyone else. You are not just another name rising in the crowd. You are a living testament, a walking answer, a quiet revolution. The wealth coming to you isn't the prize, it's the proof. Proof that the unseen hand has been guiding you all along. And what's on you now will ripple far beyond you. Because you are not just rich, you are consecrated, and through you, entire nations will feel it. You are the kind who builds differently, and it shows. Your process has never mirrored the crowd, and that was by design. You weren't permitted to rush ahead. You weren't allowed to copy the formulas that seemed to work for everyone else. While others clamored to be noticed, you were called into quiet. While they expanded outward, you were being carved inward. At times, it felt like you were being bypassed, even forgotten. But the truth is, you were being trusted with something far more profound than what they were chasing. You learned to construct in silence. You learned to grow beneath the surface. Every choice you made confused those around you because it refused to follow their logic. They whispered that you moved too slow, that you were too cautious, but they couldn't see that your instructions came from above, not from ambition. You weren't building for fleeting applause. You were laying a foundation for something enduring. While others sprinted, you stayed hidden. While others cut corners, you took the longer road. While others reached for popularity, you reached for alignment, keeping yourself tethered to your higher purpose long before your work reached their eyes. What looked to them like hesitation was really protection. You were being strengthened where no one was watching, so you could withstand storms others wouldn't survive. You turned down temptations because you understood that not every open door is sacred. You walked away from offers that sparkled but carried no soul. That's why what you've built is solid. That's why what you're building will last. You could have mimicked what was trending. You could have diluted your truth. You could have bought your way into visibility. But instead, you stayed planted. You stayed faithful. You worked unseen. You kept your integrity intact when no one was clapping. Now what's emerging through you cannot be undone. Others who rushed ahead are watching their platforms crumble under the weight of ego. But what you've been entrusted with is just beginning to rise, unshaken, because its roots go deep. You did not stack your foundation on vanity. You poured it with vision. You did not frame it with pride. You shaped it with prayer. The provision flowing to you now will not only sustain your life, it will nourish others. It will spark movements. It will create change. You are not simply crafting a legacy of wealth. You are crafting a legacy of purpose. Those who come after you will tread on the ground you secured with tears. They will walk through gates you forged in fire. They will benefit from a structure born of obedience and resolve. The framework you've built is holy. The design you've followed is sacred. The impact will echo. The work will endure because it was made to bear the weight of generations. This is why your journey demanded patience, why you had to endure the hard way, why it often felt invisible, thankless, and painfully slow, because what you're constructing is not temporary, it's timeless. Now the world is about to witness what the quiet seasons were shaping all along. What you've been building was never small, it was sacred. And now the light of favor is about to fall on everything your hands have labored for. You are the kind of leader this moment needs, not because you chase applause, but because you carry assignment. What is unfolding through you was never meant to entertain crowds. It was meant to elevate lives. This is not about making a name for yourself. This is about rebuilding what others abandoned. You weren't entrusted with increase, so you could display it. You were entrusted so you could deploy it. Your elevation was never about sparkling in the spotlight. It was about stepping into spaces that had gone dark and bringing them back to life. You are not being raised to impress. You are being raised to intervene. You will redirect resources where they've been denied. You will spark visions in places left forgotten. You will repair what systems have fractured. This isn't about followers or fame. This is about feeding purposes that have been starved. You're stepping into rooms where dreams were buried, to resurrect them. You're building havens where others only saw ruins. You're crafting opportunity where there was once only emptiness. You've been chosen to underwrite hope, to ignite visionaries who gave up too soon, to reclaim spaces that injustice tried to erase, to amplify voices silenced by indifference, to lay down pathways for restoration where no road existed before. The resources placed in your hands will not simply sustain your life, they will awaken others. This wealth isn't fleeting attention, it's enduring authority. Your direction is not dictated by noise. Your choices are shaped by purpose. This is why so much is being entrusted to you now, because heaven knows you won't turn it into a monument for yourself. You won't let it harden your heart. You won't let it blind you to the needs around you. When the opportunities multiply, your humility will remain intact. When the abundance grows, your gratitude will only deepen. When the world begins to notice, your devotion will still lead. You don't owe the algorithm your authenticity. You owe the source your faithfulness. This isn't for vanity. This is for victory, for reclaiming what generations lost, for restoring what was dismantled, for advancing a mission much bigger than you. Through your hands, provision will flow where desperation once lived. Through your work, healing will touch places wounded for decades. Through your vision, futures will take shape for people you'll never meet. You are proving that it is possible to carry prosperity and stay pure, that humility can thrive even in abundance, that you can remain whole while stewarding much. This isn't about putting on a show. This is about sowing into eternity. This isn't temporary. This is timeless. This isn't self-serving. This is sacred. And here's what makes it undeniable. You never had to shout about it. The fruit you bear will speak louder than anything you could say. The lives you impact will tell the story. This was never about being noticed. It was about being necessary. So move forward boldly. Hold what comes without clutching it. Carry influence without letting it carry you. And never forget, you were not called to sparkle for the crowd. You were called to stand steady for the cause. And it is that kind of faithfulness that multiplies into something eternal.